In 2003, a financial setback surprised the boxing world. Mike Tyson, legendary heavyweight champion, declared bankruptcy, despite having amassed more than $300 million throughout his career. This dramatic situation raises a crucial question about the nature of money and our relationship to it. After all, if a large part of our actions and motivations in life revolve around the acquisition of financial resources, what is the purpose of accumulating wealth if the ability to manage it proves to be deficient? Contemporary society, especially in the United States, demonstrates this fragility in an alarming way, with record levels of credit card indebtedness. This reality leads us to reflect on the lack of learning and the repetition of patterns that affect us individually and collectively. Debt, an invisible burden, places a particular burden on the most vulnerable individuals and countries. While these statistics reflect the situation in the United States and the United Kingdom, it is critical that each of us examine our own attitude toward money. What does money represent in your life? Does it seem to come and go just as quickly? Have you put him in situations of vulnerability? Has this vulnerability led you to seek shortcuts to getting rich, or to fall for the promises of financial gurus? My channel seeks to address these topics, and I have realized that our perceptions of money can be more determinant than our ability to generate it, especially when our brains are programmed in a way that prevents us from making sound financial decisions. What's the point of having a high annual income if at the end of the year, there's nothing to show? Where does this disconnect lie? The time has come to unravel this mystery and, more importantly, to explore a more appropriate framework for understanding money. This structure, while common in personal finance, is often overlooked in formal education. The fundamental question is, what is money? Or, more precisely, what does money represent? When making a purchase on Amazon or receiving salary for your work, what is the meaning of money in these transactions? Conventionally, money is defined as a medium of exchange, an instrument that facilitates the purchase, sale, and exchange of goods and services between the parties involved. However, this definition does not reveal the essence of what money actually represents. A more accurate perspective is to consider it an expression of value. When you purchase something, you spend a certain amount because you assign that item a value equivalent to the amount paid. Importantly, while price is usually determined by the market rather than by you individually, the fundamental premise remains: money equals value. Why is this understanding so relevant? Because we often attribute to money a moral meaning. We observe people with great wealth and tend to question their luck, the advantages they had, and who had to lose for them to win. We rarely ask ourselves about the value that was created to generate this wealth. Understanding that money is, at its core, a representation of value is crucial to realizing that it is not inherently evil and does not turn a person into evil. Of course, there are fraudulent activities that take advantage of the belief in value, but this does not concern the money itself, but the morality of those who practice them. Money, in itself, is a tool that expands options and expands horizons. The choices you make with him reveal his moral dispositions and his values. Therefore, the key to a healthy relationship with money lies in the awareness of its intrinsic value and the responsibility with which it is used. Money, at its core, represents value. But given this realization, what are the implications for individuals who find themselves in a constant cycle of debt, relying on credit, or plagued by card debt? The mere assertion that money equals value alone does not promote significant change. It may even change the perspective on money, but what is the practical application of this perception? To answer, it is pertinent to ask, what is your relationship with money? Money flows into your life, coming in and out. This dynamic is mirrored by their earnings and expenses. A more concrete way to visualize this relationship, which I find particularly useful, is to compare its production with its consumption. To a large extent, money comes into your life as a result of the production of value. For most, this value is manifested through work, whatever it may be. The money comes out when you consume something: a streaming subscription, a new vehicle, the acquisition of a property. From this point of view, an individual's indebtedness can serve as an indicator of the relationship between consumption and production. Returning to the data mentioned above, what aspect of this relationship seems unbalanced? Do a self-analysis. Reflect on all the money that has circulated in your life. How much of that amount do you still own or have invested in assets? What part of this equation needs to be adjusted? The answer is likely to involve both areas, but for most, The crux of the matter lies in consumption. Recall the Career Builder study that revealed that 78% of American workers lived paycheck to paycheck. The study also found that even among those with annual incomes of $100,000 or more, 1 in 10 lived under the same financial constraint. Although it can be argued that individuals with high incomes always aim for more, the ability to spend an amount substantially higher than the average salary and the cost of living, evidencing inadequate management, suggests that the relationship with consumption should be reevaluated even before considering the relationship with production. The experience of celebrities who have declared bankruptcy despite their wealth demonstrates that production alone is irrelevant when there is a problem with consumption. The concept of rat race is often associated with full-time work. Although this analogy is commonly used by certain individuals to justify the sale of their products and courses, it seems simplistic and unfair. Mainly because it tends to demonize work and ignores those who enjoy their jobs or have ambitions other than conventional work. The real rat race describes a precarious financial existence, in which the distance between salary and bankruptcy is minimal and constant. It is the feeling that as soon as the money comes in, it disappears quickly. The greater the responsibilities, the more dangerous this relationship becomes. Job loss, unforeseen medical expenses, or any unexpected event can jeopardize entire financial stability. Also consider the psychological impact of living in this situation. Work is no longer a choice and becomes a necessity to ensure subsistence. Constant financial instability can generate anxiety, stress, and a sense of imprisonment. The search for a healthier relationship with money is therefore crucial to achieving financial security and emotional well-being. The search for an idealized lifestyle or the constant battle to pay off debts becomes a vicious cycle. The famous phrase of Tyler Durden from Fight Club resonates. The things you own end up owning you. But there is a way out of this situation, a path to financial freedom. The first step to achieving financial health lies in building a clear awareness of your relationship with money. This process often begins with a detailed analysis of your monthly expenses. It is crucial to record all expenses, categorizing them into areas such as housing, transportation, food, utility bills, leisure, and other necessities. This practice allows you to understand yourself as a consumer, mapping your buying habits and identifying areas where you can optimize your spending. However, this step can be challenging. In behavioral finance, this resistance is known as the ostrich effect, our tendency to avoid negative financial information. It is that feeling of fear when checking the bank statement after a period of spending, fearing the result. Overcoming this phase is crucial to taking control over your financial behavior. This typically involves creating a budget, setting monthly spending limits for each category, and sticking to those goals. The central idea is to carefully analyze your consumption habits and identify opportunities to reduce expenses, living according to your financial means. In other words, to adopt a lifestyle that allows you not only to cover basic needs, but also to save and invest resources. Before venturing into the world of investments, one of the most recommended practices in personal finance is to create an emergency fund. This fund consists of a financial reserve, usually equivalent to 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses, intended to cover unforeseen events such as medical expenses, job loss, or urgent repairs. The idea of living below your means is fundamental. But why do we often choose to do the opposite? Why do we choose a lifestyle that exceeds our financial limits, putting us in a situation of vulnerability? Our cognitive biases play a significant role in this scenario. The ostrich effect is just one of many factors that can negatively impact our financial situation. There is also hyperbolic discounting, the tendency to prefer immediate rewards over higher earnings in the future. This manifests itself in choosing to buy a luxury item, such as a new pair of shoes, rather than investing that money in something that can generate long-term income. Another relevant bias is social proof, our propensity to think and act according to the behavior of the people around us. If people close to us are purchasing certain products or services, we are influenced to do the same. Similarly, if money is portrayed negatively as a source of trouble or corruption, we are likely to internalize this view. The expression, "keeping up with the Joneses," sums up this trap of consumerism. This expression, which defines the behavior of trying to imitate or surpass neighbors, is one of the main causes of indebtedness and financial dissatisfaction. Today, the Joneses, are not just our literal neighbors, but rather a constant influence. We are bombarded by examples of consumption and success on social networks, in the media, and in our social circle, and the pressure to conform to these standards is great. The search for social approval is inherent to human beings, and we care about the image we project. The problem lies in quantifying our personal worth based on what we acquire and flaunt. The governor of the Bank of Canada, in repeated statements, has stated that for most Canadians, debt is a reality, to a greater or lesser extent. It is important to emphasize that this text does not condemn the acquisition of goods. The flaunting of expensive goods, whether they are designer clothing, hasty judgments, or sports cars, is inappropriate behavior. Nor do I consider the act of consuming inherently negative. The purpose of this video is not to debate the ramifications of a materialistic view of the world, but rather to foster self-awareness about who you are as a consumer. Do you prioritize the appearance of owning wealth over the actual possession of it? The rat race is not restricted to conventional work, with fixed hours, but to an existence guided by the incessant search for something new. Be it a new job, a new material acquisition, to the point of relegating your goals and ambitions to the background, perpetuating this cycle. Budgeting and keeping tight control of expenses has repeatedly demonstrated its effectiveness in freeing individuals from this trap. It is seductive to discuss the possibility of amassing large sums or imagining the possession of the maximum fortune. But at what point does your relationship with money, as a consumer, imply the loss of everything or the need to work incessantly to maintain this lifestyle? This is the real rat race. That said, we'll focus on how to make money. Personal finance channels, such as those of Graham Stephan or Dave Ramsey, offer excellent lessons in how to manage the financial consumption side. However, if I could make one request, it would be that they address in more depth the ability to generate income. I understand the reason for this omission. It is undeniably simpler to decrease spending and consumption than to increase incomes. When communicating with a broad audience, the orientation that tends to be most effective for the majority is usually the best choice. We observe the existence of entire communities dedicated to frugality, such as the FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early movement, which adopts the strategy of living in extreme moderation, saving and investing as much as possible, with the aim of retiring as soon as possible. Minimalists share a similar view, albeit with a deeper philosophical orientation about the world and materialism. Personalities like Graham Stephan and Dave Ramsey promote strategies that fall on the spectrum of living frugally, saving large amounts, and investing for the long term. And there is no demerit in this approach. It works for a wider spectrum of people with different income levels. However, let us be frank. Graham Stephan didn't leverage cost reduction or an extremely austere lifestyle to generate between $100,000 and $200,000 a month from YouTube. Similarly, Dave Ramsey did not rely on these strategies to amass an estimated net worth of $55 million. These people are using means of production on a large scale. Money is equivalent to the value perceived in the market. The most impactful way to increase this value is to identify a problem in the market, devise a solution to that problem, and commercialize it on a large scale. This is the journey of entrepreneurship. A successful business, operating at scale, is able to generate substantial value for society, such that the production side grows exponentially compared to a conventional job. However, this is not a journey that everyone can or should embark on. It is a reflection on your own skills and whether entrepreneurship aligns with your goals. That said, increasing your production doesn't have to be restricted to the strict definition of a business. Graham Stephan's use of YouTube has proven to be an effective channel for creating content, in my case, videos about personal finance, reaching a sizable audience. This was even one of the reasons that motivated me to start producing videos on the platform. It is a tool that makes it possible to create videos in documentary format, on a large scale, allowing me, eventually, to dedicate myself fully to it and build a business around this format. To produce, in essence, means to offer value to the market, in some way or form. I used my skills in acting, presentation, storytelling, and video editing to create content that I intended to be both entertaining and instructive. Fortunately, the market reacted positively. Production can take several forms, such as the development of an application or software that solves a problem perceived by the market, thus justifying the financial investment. or even the development of a fitness brand with a strong visual identity and community management superior to the others, as I believe is the case with Ben Francis and Gymshark. For most people, traditional employment, with a defined working day, will represent the main form of production. However, this does not limit the ability to produce. Understanding yourself as a producer implies identifying ways to add value to the market. The ability to generate value on a large scale translates, therefore, into the potential for significant financial gains. The internet, fortunately, has expanded the opportunities for content production and distribution. Market acceptance of what is produced can only be assessed after launch. In summary, it is essential, first of all, to develop self-awareness as a consumer. Understanding what and why you buy, through recording expenses and setting a budget, is crucial. Production, then, becomes a matter of optimizing the value that can be offered to society through work, an enterprise, or any other means of production. This is a mental model that has helped me a lot and that I believe is useful for many who seek financial success. If you want to watch more videos on business, finance, and related topics, be sure to subscribe to the channel.